For this activity, you are going to find the perimeter and the area of several different gardens. So before we get started, let's review what area and perimeter are. So perimeter is just the measure of the length of the sides of a figure. So here we see that this rectangle has 4 sides, and the perimeter is just adding all of the 4 sides up. So here we have some formulas to help you find the perimeter. A formula is just a fill-in-the-blank math sentence that helps you find the answer. So the formula for a rectangle is length plus width plus length plus width equals the perimeter. Notice this is just adding up all the sides. When we fill in the formula with the numbers from the problem, we can solve it to find the perimeter. So the length was 6 and the width was 5, so we had to add 6 and 5 and 6 and 5. Now if this was a square, you could take one of the sides and multiply it by 4. And that's because multiplication is repeated addition. It's just like adding up all 4 of the sides. So now let's review area. Area is the measure of the square units made by turning the figure into an array. Notice we turn the rectangle into an array that has 6 columns and 5 rows. If we add up the squares made by the array, that's the area. Area has formulas too. The formula for a rectangle is length times width equals area. So again, we can just fill in the blanks with the numbers from our problem to help us solve it and find the area. So where the length goes, we write a 6. Where the width goes, we write a 5. And 6 times 5 is 30. Now, if this was a square, all we would have to do is multiply the side by the side. It's the same thing because the side is the length and the side is the width. All right, so let's look at the directions for this activity. It says some children are planning to create a garden, but they need to purchase the right amount of material to create the borders around the garden and the garden itself. Using the dimensions, calculate the area and the perimeter of each garden. You must write the answer in a complete mathematical sentence using the proper formulas. So the first example has been done for you. So let's look at that example. Here we have a garden that is 10 by 5. So what we have to do over here is write the number sentence we can use to find the perimeter. And that goes back to the formulas. If you forget the formulas for area or perimeter, you can look in the slide notes section and see it there. And then we're just going to fill in the blanks. So length plus width plus length plus width for this problem is 10 plus 5 plus 10 plus 5. When you get that written out, you can do the math and find the answer. The formula for area is length times width. So we're just going to fill in the blanks with the numbers from the problem. 10 times 5. And when we solve that math problem, we get 50, the answer to the area. So there are several more like this for you to try, but there is also some challenge slides. So let's look at that. Notice that this figure is not a rectangle, but if you divide this figure up, you can see that it's actually made from 2 different rectangles. So in order to find the area of this garden, you just have to find the area of the small rectangle and add it to the area of the large rectangle. So to show that as a math sentence, you have to do it 2 separate times. We're going to have to do 7 times 8 for the area of the larger rectangle, and then we're going to have to add to that the area of the small rectangle, or 5 times 2. Once we do the math for this problem, we can figure out the area. The perimeter is a little different too, because in our formulas, we only have 4 sides. But this figure has more than 4 sides. It has 6 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 of the sides we don't know, but we can figure them out. See this long side that's missing? Well, it's the same length as this short 2-inch side, and this longer 8-inch side put together. If I add 8 and 2, I can see that this side is 10. We're also missing this one right here, but I know that this length of 5 and whatever this one is together equal 7. So I just ask myself, 5 plus what equals 7? And I can see that's 2. Now that I have all 6 of my sides labeled, all I have to do is create my number sentence by adding them all up. Once I do the math, I can figure out the perimeter of this figure. All right, I'm going to show you one more thing before I'm going to leave you to practice on your own, and that's this challenge slide. So what you're going to do is create a garden that has the same exact perimeter and area. So this garden right here, you can make it longer or wider or change it in whatever way, but you need to do so that the area and the perimeter are the same. And you can use this ruler here to help you check. So have fun practicing, and by the time you're finished with all of these slides, you are going to be really good at solving area and perimeter. Have fun!